Hey, what's up, guys? So, with 9.2 having been out for a couple weeks now, well, actually more like a couple months. The PvP season, though, having been out for a long time now, having tested the tier sets for Demonology, the tier set bonuses, I feel pretty confident in making my 9.2 guide. So this has kind of been in the making for a couple weeks, but yeah, so everything that you could possibly want when looking into playing Demonology in 9.2 and PvP will hopefully be included. This guide is going to be for how I personally play Demonology. Demonology is a very complex spec. It can be played a couple different ways right now. I'm going to be telling you what I think is the best build for Demonology right now, and what has personally gotten me to just under 2,500 and to the number 3 spot in the US in 3v3 right now. So it's going to be hopefully pretty brief. I'll keep it pretty brief. I don't want to go too in depth, but I also don't want to skim on deep details, and I want it to be pretty comprehensive. This is going to be like my 9.2 ultimate guide kind of. So I would like for the basics and everything that I know right now to be captured in this guide, and then I'll hopefully update as the season goes on. If the meta changes or anything changes with Demonology, I'll just keep you guys up to date with that. But as it stands right now, this is my 9.2 official Demonology Warlock PvP guide. So we'll be going over talents, we'll be going over gear, we'll be going into stats, we'll be going into anything that you could really need right now, covenants, legendaries, everything that you need to hopefully play Demonology to the best of your ability right now in 9.2 Shadowlands. Without further ado, if you enjoy the guide, if this helps you out, I'd appreciate a like on the video. Really helps me out, really helps me grow and get shown to more people. A comment also helps a lot. Just tell me how thankful you are in the comments. All engagement is good engagement on my videos, and I really appreciate it. Also, for more content, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you never miss an upload. I do stream live over on twitch.tv/Rivstur, and so that's where my live content lives. So come and hang out with us. Anyways, without further ado, enjoy the video. So I'll be going over what I think is the best build, which is going to be Nightfae. I've tested extensively with Necrolord post-nerf. I don't like how Necrolord feels. I don't like how it plays. There's currently people somewhat making it work, but Nightfae is better. This is confirmed. Most of the Demonology ladder right now is switching over to Nightfae as well. I was one of the first to do so, and it looks like everybody else seems to be following suit. Although I will note that there are a couple Demonology Warlocks still making Necrolord work, so either can be done. We will say that it's optional which one you want to pick, but if you want the most meta option, I would go with Nightfae personally. As far as these other builds, I can provide guides for them as well if there's demand for it, so go ahead and post in the comments if that's what you'd like to see. But today we'll be covering the Nightfae build, and more specifically the Nightfae haste build. I've sort of been able to formulate, and yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. I like how it feels. So I think you guys will get a lot out of this. Anyways, for covenants, we go for Dreamweaver. So a lot of people who play Nightfae, they like to play Nia. I've tried Nia. I personally don't like it. My reason for not liking it is there's an awkward interaction with Grove Invigoration where whenever you Tyrant, you have to like pre-Grove Invigoration. And with how your legendary situation is working out right now in Nightfae, you get this legendary baseline for Nightfae, which when you soul rot, you get a crit and haste bonus for a very short time, 8 seconds, right? So if you pre-soul rot, you're not getting this during your Tyrant. It's really awkward. It makes it so that shit doesn't really line up that well. And the damage as well with the Mastery build, particularly, it's played predominantly with this legendary right here, this dog one. The dog one is also an RNG legendary. I'm just not a big fan of it. It feels very grindy. And so personally for me, what's been working out for me currently has been playing Dreamweaver. So we play Dreamweaver to stack Field of Blossoms, which is a haste bonus by 15% for 12.0 seconds. But remember, it's not a static 15%. Whenever you gain a haste bonus, it stacks with other haste bonuses. It stacks multiplicatively, I think is the word. Or I guess it's just a percentage. So let's say my base haste amount is 10%. Well, if I scale it up by 15%, it'll be something like what, like 25%, whatever. Well, then if I scale that up again, it'll take into account the first haste bonus, increasing the percentages, and scale the percentage off of that higher ceiling. So as you can imagine, when you start stacking a bunch of haste bonuses on each other, you start to get a lot of bonus haste for free. So the idea is, boom, you're getting haste from this. You already get haste from Fell Obelisk. if you didn't already know. This buffs your baseline haste value. This isn't just a weird non-stat buff by 25% or whatever. This is actually a haste increase. It just doesn't say that it increases your haste. But as you can see right there, it should be about 25%. It's a little more, I guess, maybe because it scales off of my haste, my pre-existing haste already. But anyways, when you stack Fel Obelisk with the Soul Rot, and then you also have this legendary right here, which is its own haste effect as well, you can get up to like 90 to 100% haste pretty easily. What you're also trying to do is, I play personally with a priest healer, so I can stack Power Infusion on top of it, which is a 25% haste bonus. Well, with me having 100% haste, 25%, guys, really, it gets doubled because it's 100% haste base plus 25%. Well, 100% doubling, 25% is 50%. So you can get up to like 150% with Power Infusion. Really, really broken stuff, guys. So it makes your tyrant crack out, all your pets start cracking out, all your pets basically get a caffeine boost. So it's really, really sick. It's really, really good for PvP. And haste really is what you want as a Demonology Warlock anyways, because you can get lined so many fucking times and so easily as a Demonology Warlock, and if you do, your Tyrant means nothing, which is all your damage. So yeah, that's why that's good. So now that we kind of went over Covenants, so basically Dreamweaver, and then I don't think it's that confusing. You can see which Conduits I'm picking here, right? So these three, I play Shade of Terror personally. I think it's good. Some people play Demonic Momentum. I don't. I like Fear. Fear is my favorite button in the game. I play Fell Celerity, obviously. That's an instant lock-in. Resolute Barrier, okay, of course. And then I don't play I play Accrued on my off slot, but I actually play double Finesse, so I don't actually use Accrued Vitality. Anyways, that's the Conduit, or that's the Covenant, and the Conduits, I guess. So with us playing Dreamweaver, we have a couple options for Legendary. With Legendaries, Band of the Horn Nightmare is actually not bad with what our 4-set does for Demonology, which we'll get to in a second. But also there's, of course, the one I mentioned earlier, the Grim Inquisitor's Dread Calling, the Dog Legendary, which is typically played more with the Mastery build, which is better overall damage, but less burst damage. And then the Haste build sort of being your burst 15-second window damage. Well, if you're building Big Tyrant like I am in talents, here's the talents right here. If I'm building Big Tyrant, I want this Legendary right here, which gives you sooner Tyrants. So our two legendary options, best in slot picks, like if you just want to set it and forget it, Wilfred's Sigil, and then Unity on Boots. These are the two best options, to my knowledge. Go Haste, Versatility on Boots. Other things to note with gear, we're just making this very brief. I'm actually running through this. Other things to note is with your set, the way stats kind of work for Demonology right now is Haste and Verse are very good. You want them around 31, 32%. Just above 30%. If you can get above 30%, good. Especially Versatility, you don't want to be taking a lot of damage or your pet's going to die very easily. So I'd get to 32% personally, right? Then we've got this amount of haste right here, and then Rest Mastery, okay? Well, we don't want crit. We want as little of crit as possible. I'm actually going to be... I do this for the transmog. I actually play this offhand right here. I wish there was a mastery option at the vendor, but there's not. So I may just, whenever I queue, it's a little bit more efficiency to play with a staff. But anyways, the staffs are better than the one-handers. Absolute best in slot gear is running Conquest leggings so that you don't have to run with the leggings of the Demon Star because these have crit on them. Crit, dominant stat, off stat versatility. Not this, guys. It gets you way more crit than you want, and you lose mastery as a result. Instead, play with the PvP legs, and then play Demon Star gloves, Demon Star helmet, Demon Star shoulders, and Demon Star chest. This will get you the maximum haste mastery combination on your gear possible, which helps you, mastery helps your pet damage. You get a lot of damage out of it. Like you get more mastery stat per point than any other stat in the game. So mastery is really, really good right now with all of our damage being pets anyways. And then, yeah, same thing with shoulders, versatility mastery, helmet, haste mastery, etc. So the only real bummer is the gloves. It has a little bit of crit on it, but it's haste dominant stat, and it's a better trade than the leggings overall. So you do play 4-set for Demonology right now. So yeah, there's your best in slot. Talents, Dreadlash is the best right now, especially with Triple Dog. It just doesn't even make any sense to play any of these other two. Demonic Calling, weird choice. I don't like this talent, so I'm just going to say don't play it. Doom is a joke as well. Don't play it. Power Siphon is really, really good. People are used to playing with this anyways because of the Necrolord build that was very, very popular a couple weeks ago before it got nerfed. So I just play Power Siphon. It doesn't really matter. I don't have a hard time ramping up anyways with triple dog. This row is really finesse, sort of to help you get shards. That's the whole point of this row. I think Power Siphon's just the best option here. So Demon Skin, you have to play this as Demonology. You don't have a choice. A lot of higher you know, some people, some higher CR locks will sometimes play Dark Pact, even if they're demo. It's a really risky option. I would only really recommend playing this into like something that's going to burst you down in a short amount of time. So you guessed it, Rogue Mage, right? This would be an okay pick into Rogue Mage if you're struggling and if they're going to go for you. But most times, they're actually going to go for your healer. So, I don't know. Dark Pact doesn't make a whole lot of sense for Demonology. Dark Pact is a shield, 1 minute cooldown, massive shield. Demon Skin is you're constantly just recharging shields and health. This is kind of better for Demo than other specs as well, because Demo actually heal off of their Soul Leech due to the Soul Link ability, giving health. It says right there, Soul Leech also heals you for 25% and your pet for 50% of the absorption it grants, while Demon Skin goes off Soul Leech and Dark Pact doesn't, right? So you're healing as well as making shields, and the very, very big, glaring, bold letters there are your pet, okay? It helps your pet out. Super fucking important for Demonology. If your pet's dying a lot, you're fucked. If your pet dies in a match, you're fucked. If your pet really does anything besides stay alive, you're fucked. So very, very easily, your pet can get swapped to at any time. It actually will just die to cleave too. Even if people aren't hitting it and it dies, you're fucked. And so you really just want this passively. It's going to help you out passively, and it's going to help your pet out passively. I would 99% of the fucking time just lock this in. I'll be honest, guys, I don't even switch this to play Dark Pact into RMP. I really don't. I'm lazy. Maybe I'm fucking lazy, but I don't really care. This is just that good of a talent. So just lock it and forget it. Lock it and forget it, guys. If I don't need it at 2,500, you don't need it either. From the shadows, clear lock-in right now. Soul Strike's trash. And summon Vile Fiend, summons the Vile Fiend for 15 seconds on a 45-second cooldown, costs a shard. Fire School cast. It's okay, especially with demons kind of being your damage right now. It's all right, but FTS is just better overall. Buffs your tyrant by 20%. So even just having an extra demon, it doesn't actually give you that much more value, or actually I don't even think it gives you more value, because FTS will buff your tyrant anyways, which buffs your Shadow Flame, your main demon damage through tyrant. So just play FTS. But if you have a little love boner for the Vile Fiends, or you want the Zoo build, the conventional Zoo build, pet build, then you can play it if you want. I'd say this is optional. This is BIS. This row, never play Dark Fury. Mortal Coil, I think, is just the easy lock-in. I don't know, I personally like it, but really, really good Warlocks like Maldiva play with Howl of Terror. It's good. It just, just depends on comp, kind of, or what you're facing. But I just like having a Paralyze a lot of times, because certain comps, like if I'm not playing with a Mistweaver Monk, I don't even have that DR. So I'm just a fan of it. It's really, really good ability. Soul Conduit, I play this talent personally, but actually a lot of other people don't. I would say that this particularly right now, I'll play this talent any fucking time in any meta, really, usually. I think it's, personally for me, it's the best out of these three. I like the way it feels on my character, so I play with it. But particularly this season, it did get better with this legendary. Every soul shard you spend reduces your tyrant's cooldown. Well, with Soul Conduit, this is a fact. It helps with shard management and allows you to get more hand to gold ends out over the minute. So this talent will actually help you get the soonest tyrants possible and help you get the smoothest rotation possible. But these two are actual overall passive demons that help your DPS more, I would say. Soul Conduit is more for maximizing your rotation. I personally give a shit more about my rotation than one additional imp shooting one additional bolt every 10 seconds. So, I don't know, especially with kind of this meta, spending shards gets you additional malicious imps. We'll talk about all this in a sec. But I just personally, I think Soul Conduit's the best, but other Demonology Warlocks play these other two talents. I'm actually the only one on the ladder who plays this, and I'm actually the only person who's played this for seasons upon seasons. So I'm the only top-rated lock that actually, Demo lock that actually plays this talent. So maybe don't take my word for it. Maybe I'm fucking wacky and kooky, but if you want to be crazy like me, then go ahead and lock it in. Sack Souls, this is good if you're playing Necrolord. So this is not what we're talking about in this guide today. This is just my Nightfae guide, but this is played if you want to play with Necrolord, with Decimating Bolt Covenant. So yeah, it is good. It's a good talent, but it's not what we're playing with this build. Demonic Consumption. This is your talent for big demons, big tyrants, and big daddies. So if you want a lot of tyrant damage, this is what's played. This is the best option for the demon build because you're already building up demons and this builds up your tyrant. So how it works is the more demons you have at the time of when your tyrant comes out and is summoned, the more damage your tyrant will deal because he sucks 12% of the life from all of the active demons when he comes out and uses their health to empower his damage. I can kind of show you a demo over here for a sec. My camera's probably going to go out because it's fucking darker over here. So typically a good tyrant, I can show you guys some rotational stuff, but typically a good tyrant kind of looks something like this, where, you know, you've got like set of dogs, maybe 6 imps. Anywhere from 6 to 10 imps is pretty solid. Any more than that's really, really good. And then, yeah, you want to Soul Rot, as you saw, and then Fell Obelisk at the same time. Summon as many imps as possible. Stun as well, right? Let him roll. Look at how fast he's casting. Coil on the back end, maybe, right? And then usually I implode, actually, on my kills because Malicious Imps, these guys right here, that have a chance to summon, they have a 15% chance to summon every shard you spend. So you can bonus summon imps, which those Malicious Imps implode for a lot of damage. So yeah, anyways, but a good demo looks something like this, you know. So summon a good amount of tyrants, whatever, or summon a good amount of imps, right? Set of dogs, really, really important to get that dogs in there. Dogs give a lot of health contribution. Sometimes you don't go first go. You want to kind of ramp up, get some shards going, and then you can kind of summon. But it looks like our dogs aren't going to really line up with that set of imps there, sadly. And we can send this, but it's just not ideal. Oh, here we go. All right, we'll just go with this next thing. So anyways, but yeah, so then, you know, 9 imps, right? Soul Rot, drop Obelisk at the same time. You know, we kind of lag a little bit there, but you get the idea. Fell Obelisk, Soul Rot at the same time. Dogs, whatever, right? And then you're just rotting the shit out of them. Coils, whatever, right? Implode. And your implodes just do a lot of damage because of that 4 set with Demonology. So summoning these Malicious Imps, actually, whenever they expire, they do a lot of damage. So they shoot normal damage like an imp would, and then on expiration, they'll either shoot a fireball. If they expire naturally and they're not imploded, they'll shoot a fireball, and that fireball deals like 5k or whatever, something like that. Or you can implode them, and they won't do their over duration like imp damage. And instead, you'll just cash in on the expiration. It's less DPS to rush it and implode. That's why you don't want to be imploding all the time. It's less overall DPS, less efficiency. But if you want to force a kill, a lot of times right now I'm finding with this, particularly this haste build, I can do like a 40-50k implode pretty fucking easily, and it's insane to just global people with the implodes. So, and then, yeah, that's why we want to play this legendary right here too, is to farm out the sooner tyrants, get a sooner overall rotation with having the tyrant, because that's your kill window. And it's actually really nice with this legendary too, because it makes it, on average, if you're spending pretty consistently, it should get your tyrant down to about a minute, which lines up perfectly with Soul Rot, and pretty much Fell Obelisk as well. So if you do it whenever you have Soul Rot with Soul Rot, and you cast Fell Obelisk only with Soul Rot and Tyrant, not willy-nilly, because you'll get Fell Obelisk 15 seconds before. You want to save it for your Tyrant go usually. But yeah, everything seems to line up a lot better than 1.5 minutes. You know what I mean? So that's why this legendary is really, really good as well. And then whenever your go's over, if you didn't kill something and you're not, you know, you don't have really any damage, then you want to kind of just start farming another Tyrant out, which looks a lot like you just spending shards on whatever is nearby. You can do it on pets, you can do it on whatever you want, but just keep spending shards, keep farming new Tyrants, and then rinse and repeat. You win by pressure a lot of games with this build if you can't necessarily just global them, but a lot of games you global them too. So anyways, that's sort of all of your setup stuff that you need. The rest of the video, I guess we can just go over some tips, because that's pretty much character setup. That's character setup and character configuration. A couple other things to note is there are movement speed gems right now in the game. Pro players will be playing movement speed because it's really, really good right now to kite certain things, because damage just does so much. Sometimes on certain goes with certain cooldowns, you just have to run. You don't really have a choice or you're going to die. So I personally play 5% movement speed on one of my sockets. I, of course, play minor movement speed on my cloak. And then I have another movement speed gem. So I play with this speed gem as well. And then on the auction house, there's a 3% speed gem. I don't have that one yet, though. Or I'm not even sure if I want to get that one. But these two are definitely BIS. So this one and this one are BIS for sure. And then a lot of people, I'm sure, are wondering, oh, are you going to mention the ring? So there's a ring. This ring has speed on it. Grants about 7 or 6% movement speed. Pretty good. It does have lower item level than the PvP rings. I personally don't play this, but it could be good. I came to the conclusion I don't think it's as good as just running higher item level with more stats and more stamina, but some other players seem to disagree with how they build their characters and they play these rings. So I could be wrong, but I personally don't play it. So that's up to you, but do whatever you want with that. Again, as stated, haste and versatility you want above 30%. Haste will scale the best with this build. The more haste you get, the higher your top end haste will be, and it'll scale up to about 100%. So think of it like your haste stat, whatever you contribute to haste is actually getting doubled on the top end because you're scaling up your percentage by 100%. So I have 32.5% right here. Well, when I soul rot with Fel Obelisk, it looks like 91, almost 92%. And I'm not even where I want to be with haste, really. I'll be getting a little more haste in a little bit, like in a couple weeks or in a week or whatever, whenever I can get my two-hander. I'm probably going to play the haste two-hander and say fuck it to this crit right here because this crit stat's kind of bothering me. It's a waste. I want as much haste as possible. And then I can, of course, socket. I'm socketing versatility right now to just not die in this meta. Socketing haste may be better to overall kill, but I'm finding 32% is pretty fucking good. And you kind of want 32% verse anyways. So anyways, that's kind of my stats. That's kind of my build, the Rivstur build for success in 9.2. Shadowlands is Demonology. As stated, I can talk about the Dreadbite build or whatever, the dog one with Nightfae. And I can also cover some stuff with Necrolord. But I already did a 9.1 Decimating Bolt Necrolord guide. It's still applicable today. Anything I said back then is probably still applicable. With exception, you just play Bale Spider Legendary now. So not much has really changed. Other things to note, this trinket just got nerfed. So this was BIS. Who knows now? I'm going to play with it for a couple weeks and kind of see how I feel. I haven't really had a chance to queue since this got nerfed. But I'll be updating in videos about whether this is good or not, kind of trying to get you guys the soonest information as it comes out of the horse's mouth or down the pipeline. But yeah, so overall, that's pretty much what you want. I'm trying to think if I left anything out. Yeah, honor talents, I play Master Summoner, Call Fel Hunter, Fel Obelisk. I really don't switch this out. I'll be honest. I could maybe play Netherward into Warlock Mage or something like that right now that's just one-shotting people. But personally, I'm pretty good at getting out of the fight and not getting kicked. So I personally don't play this talent, even when I probably should, because I like my damage. And Fel Obelisk is a massive key component as to why my build has so much success. This haste modifier, without it, your damage sucks with this build. It would suck without it. So you kind of want it, guys. You kind of want Fel Obelisk, and so it's kind of necessary. It's kind of hella needed. So just play. I'd probably just play Fel Obelisk, and don't get hit, guys. Use your port, use your gates effectively. Use your Nightfae, and get out of fights. So yeah, just line till you can't line anymore. That's the nice thing about this build, guys, is you do get a lot of mobility and movement speed. Especially if you're playing the speed sockets, it really helps you out a lot, because with us not playing Necrolord anymore after the nerf to Decimating Bolt, you do lose Fleshcraft, and that's a massive part of your survivability, and it was a key part of living as a Demo Lock. Pairing that with your wall gave you essentially an immunity that you couldn't really be killed through, no matter how much damage they had. So now with Nightfae, you're expected to kite a lot more. One more thing also worth noting that we can kind of talk about, because it is, I guess, a guide. For Demonology, we'll talk about races very briefly. So before I did play a Troll. Troll is very, very good. But with this season, playing with this trinket particularly, Orc stands out as a very, very good option. I switched Orc, actually. A lot of people know I was Troll before, but I switched Orc because I started playing this trinket and noticing that I was sitting 8-second fucking kidney shots. Well, Orcs take less stun duration. So they reduce stun duration by 20%. Well, that stacks with this trinket. A lot of people think it doesn't. I've tested this. I know that it does. And so Orc, despite what a lot of these effects will say, does not stack, it'll serve, since this trinket increases the duration of CC on your character by 25%. This stun reduction will reduce it by 20%, thus kind of offsetting the negative stun duration bonus and making this trinket a better option, actually. Yeah, and actually, since it's scaled up prior to, I believe, and then scaled down, it might actually be giving you a net benefit, a net reduction, because it's scaling 20% from a higher number I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, basically that's what makes this racial so good, and that's what makes this race in general so good. Let alone the 1% additional pet damage that you get for being an orc, which does apply to every single pet Demonology has, which is very, very useful because all our damage is pets. So 1% pet damage, and then Blood Fury, which is an intellect, basically a baseline percentage increase to all of my abilities. Intellect just increases spell power. So yeah, think of it, I believe it comes out to about 5%. So think of it like a 5% damage increase for 15 seconds on a 2-minute cooldown, not counting the 1%, or I guess counting the 1%, then you have it further scaled, and then you get the stun reduction, which is useful because you have duration increasers, making stuns very, very lethal, and you do not want to get caught in a stun, guys, right now, longer than you need to, especially with us not having Fleshcraft or any of that shit anymore. It's like if you get caught in a stun, and with just how insane damage is in the game right now, you can just fucking die. So making stun shorter when playing with this trinket is absolutely fucking amazing. And that's why Orc is probably your best option actually in the game right now. Whenever I play with my human, I miss playing with my Orc. So I think for the first time ever, guys, like before, I didn't think Orc was ever the best. I thought human was always better or it was contentious. But I think very clearly right now, Orc is the best race in the game for Warlock and for Demonology, simply because of that stun reduction. It's absolutely fucking insane with this trinket, guys, with it being able to stack. So yeah, anyways, I just wanted to throw that in. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the general gist of it. Stack your haste modifiers during Tyrant, get the fattest Tyrant possible, and then farm another one and kite around when it's down. Stay tuned for more videos on Demonology. I'll be having a lot of guides or other tip videos or how-tos or whatever coming out. There's a lot of tricks and tips I picked up from playing Demonology that a lot of people probably don't know about. So we'll have tips and trick guides coming out in the future, and montages and other gameplay. So if that's your sort of thing, once again, please do subscribe to me. Your one-stop shop for all Demonology. It's my spec. It's the only spec I play. It's the spec I main, dedicating all my time to it. So follow me for more Demonology content. Follow me on Twitch as well, and go check me out over there. Have fun with Demonology, guys. It's actually a lot of fun this season with the tier sets. Good luck out there.